Let's tell you about the ANC Veterans League's National Elective Conference. It will conclude today after an apparently seamless three-day conference. Snuki Zikalala has retained his position as president, while Mavuso Msimang will be the deputy of the Veterans League. We touch base now with Juniour Khumalo to give us a sense of what to expect as it concludes today. Juniour Khumalo, is the president of that organization going to be closing conference?
Good morning, Tutu. Indeed, the president of the ANC is expected to come and close this conference today. We've seen proceedings go smoothly, unlike the previous conferences that we've seen, like the Women's League that happened last weekend, where it was marred by a lot of delays. This one seemed to go a bit smoother, given that it's the elders of the ANC that are conducting this conference. As you mentioned, Snuki Zikalala was elected as the president. His deputy was Mavuso Msimang, and the deputy secretary was also uncontested, Connie September, a former minister of human settlements. There were two positions that were, however, contested, and the results, we received them earlier today. The secretary general is now Eva Mackay-Langa, a former struggle stalwart. The treasurer general is Dr. Fazel Randera, who was also elected and announced this morning. So what has been happening right now was that they were electing the additional members of the NEC of the Veterans League, about 29 members in total. The process was being chaired by the former president, Kgalema Motlanthe. They took a break right now because after the nominations, there were about 46 nominations, about 10 people declined the nominations, and then there was a break just to deliberate on the people that were nominated, whether they meet gender parity. But we have the ANC spokesperson, Mahlengi Bengu, just to speak to us about the proceedings that happened this morning and what to expect going forward. Ma, thank you so much for joining us. What is currently going on right now?
At the moment, thank you for having us, Junior. At the moment, what has just happened is that provinces had convened, agreed to convene themselves in order to present a credible, a balanced list of the additional members to the National Executive Committee of the Veterans League, which is something often unprecedented, where you have delegates saying we're asking to meet as provinces to speak with one another so that we can come up with a unified list that takes care of the fact that we are a non-racial organization, that takes care of the fact that women should come to the front, takes care of the geographic spread. So quite an exciting thing to watch for those of us who are going to be veterans one day, and quite a good example to set. So they've come back now. They're sitting at plenary. They're discussing this list that has been agreed upon in consultation among the provinces. So that's the process that's currently unfolding. Once that is done, the process of voting is going to begin. So it's not in a subversion of a democratic process, but it's just consolidating that. Once that is done, then we would have the process of voting and the other business of commission's report backs. The commissions took place for several hours well into the night. There will then be a session that is running at the same time to report back on the work of the different commissions. A number of policies were discussed, a number of political matters were discussed. All of those things are now going to be discussed by the team and ventilated and discussed by the team to inform the resolutions that are going to be read out later in the day before the president comes back to officially, president of the mother body, the ANC, President Ramaphosa, comes back to then officially close the conference. And prior to that, a conference declaration will be read out, informed by what's happened since Friday, and that will be preceded by the reading of resolutions and the adopting of such. All of that is moving seamlessly, taking us into the end of the last day of the conference.
We saw the president of the organization, Cyril Ramaphosa. He was in Russia attending the Russia-Africa summit. Is he back in the country, and what time do you expect him to give the closing address?
It is our understanding. If there are changes, we would be advised accordingly. But the conference steering committee is certainly of the view that this conference is still going to be closed by the president of the African National Congress. And so we do expect that that will happen sometime. I would just estimate it at about 4 p.m. or slightly early or slightly thereafter, depending on how the discussions are proceeding here. But conference taking place on time, ending on time. everything that is was on the agenda of the ANC Veterans League Conference on the agenda as stipulated and planned has been executed to the T. And so we're quite excited as the African National Congress that indeed veterans have stepped up and showed us how things are supposed to be done.
Thank you so much for your time, Mahlengi. That is the ANC national spokesperson, Mahlengi Beng, saying the ANC veterans are leading by example. Everything that was planned is on time and going ahead. That President Cyril Ramaphosa, despite having attended that Russia-Africa summit, is back in the country and is expected to close this conference, Tutu.
Thank you very much, Juniour Khumalo, for that report.